Right, well, we're out today for something a little bit different, if I'm honest. We've come for a bit more of a product in focus. So what the lads have done at Spotted Fin, they've sent me a new bag of milled krill pellets, which is the ground down krill pellets, which you already do. Because what we're sort of after is the krill ground meat at the moment, while it's brilliant, I want something a bit more potent. I mean, and this stuff, it's pretty much pure ground down krill pellets, that's what it is, it says on the bag. And what that's going to hopefully give me is more of a potent ground bait mix. I mean, I'm a big fan already of using the krill stuff at venues like Larford, anywhere with a reddy bottom. I mean, I'm a big fan of using krill ground baits when it's quite a red sandy bottom. So this is pretty much going to boost my ground baits a little bit more. But today I want to do things a little bit different. So already this mix, the mixed krill pellets, it's very, very similar to the popular betaine green pellets that we already do, the milled green betaine pellets, which are a massively, massively popular paste mix. And that's what I'm going to do today. I mean, I've come out to play with this stuff for me paste fishing, but in something a little bit different. Instead of fishing it on the bottom, I want to have a little bit of play with paste shallow, which is something that I used to do a lot in my younger days, used to like playing with. Not so much I do these days, to be honest. It's a bit risky, but that's going to be my perfect mix for it today. Is I'm going to use some of this for pretty much for making a beautiful cloud in the water. The vivid red of this is going to save me having to add any dyes or anything like that to my ground bait. I'm going to make a nice lovely cloud by feeding it sloppy, and I'm also going to mix it up with my paste, so it's going to be a perfect, with the oil content it's got in it, because it's quite a high oil content ground bait as it is. Hopefully it's going to make a lovely paste, but we're going to mix some bait now. I'm going to see what it's like. Right, dead quick, I just want to show you I'm going to make me bait. So it can't be simpler for today. Literally all I've got, that is my bait for the whole day. All I'm going to use is one bag of ground bait. That's going to produce me hook bait, which is already bashed up, and it's going to produce me feed, and that's plenty to last me, I mean, a whole session. I expect to use that for a good 5 hours. I could eke that out for. Got a noisy geese. So as I say, I've made me paste up, just to show you how I've done that. I can't do it quick enough on the camera. I've got to let it settle. But that's what I'm trying to achieve, is a nice sticky paste. And literally all I've done is add some ground bait to the water. Yeah, not the other way around. I want to make sure it's nice and wet, so everything's soaked on my particles. So I've got a little bit of water in my tub there. All I'm going to do is whiz it in, not too much. So it's going to be a lot stiffer once it sucks up a bit of water. So as long as everything's completely covered there, I'm just going to do that a little bit more. Yeah, you can almost feel it's like a slop already. And very quickly, if I leave that 15 to 20 minutes, just as I have done, very quickly I've got a paste that I can put on a hook, nice and easy. You know what I mean? As long as it's soaked up all the water, you don't need any fancy ingredients, something like that. Just straight out the bag, put your ground bait on, it's good to go. As long as you get your consistency right by either adding a bit more water, adding a bit more powder, whatever you need to do. So you can have a lovely hook bait really, really quickly. Within 20 minutes, that'll be perfect to go. For the slop, I'm going to do exactly the same thing, but just in massive more quantities of water, obviously. So I've got 3/4 of a tub of water, and what I'm going to pretty much do is put half a bag into that. Just make sure it's all wet. So it's really, really fine grinding on this ground bait, so it's going to go really fine. It's all going to disperse completely, and you pretty much, you've just got water. Yeah, but you'll find it again, leave that 15 to 20 minutes, it'll solidify quite a bit, and you end up with a nice slop that I'm going to talk about a little bit more when I actually start fishing. Is what I want with the slop that I'm actually going to feed is, I don't want it to be too stiff to hit the water and sink really, really quickly without spreading, but also I don't want to throw my slop, and I don't want it to sort of spread through the air. I want it to be one nice solid lump as it goes through the air. Quite a fine line to get that right, but I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. But what I'm going to do, you can see that slopping up already. I mean, really quickly that's starting to form a slop that's throwable at the bottom of the bowl. So if I leave that for another 5 minutes, then I'll decide when I need to add a little bit more powder, a little bit more water, whatever I need to do, just to get the two perfect mixes. See that paste, that's nearly there already. See, I've got a nice manageable hook bait already on that, a little bit longer, and that'll also be a perfect hook bait to put straight on the hook. So that quick, that small amount of prep, and we're ready to go catch a load of fish. Right, so I'm what, 20 minutes later and everything's sorted. I've literally used 3/4 of a bag. I've got 1/4 of a bag left, just to play about if I need to stiffen or soften up any of my mixes. But you can see me slop now, it's achieved the consistency what I'm after. What I want is my slop is so I can dunk my hand and make it nice and wet, so it doesn't stick to my hand. And say when I throw it, I want it to go in one solid piece. I don't want it to split up through the air. I want one solid piece landing and splatting on the water. So that consistency I've got now, so it's just, I don't know, just like snot. It's horrible, really, isn't it? Nice, but say it rolls a nice ball on me, and that's the sort of consistency I'm after. And as me paste, that all depends what's happening. Yeah, I don't want a really soft paste. I'm not one for fannying about with little pots on the end of my pole. It's probably right, but I can't handle it. I'd rather just be able to mould a nice ball of paste on, something that you'd be amazed at how soft you can actually get away with hanging on your pole and shipping it out. So on a nice soft paste I can ship out with, which at the minute, that's what I've got. Whether that'll stiffen up or not as it goes on, I've got a bit of water there to change it if I need to. But at the minute, I can make a nice little, nice little soft ball, and that's going to be enough to stick to my hook. Enough for me to ship it 5 or 6 metres when I'm going to whiz me paste out to when I'm going to throw me slop. So bait all sorted. I've got that little tub of water, which is vital with all kinds of paste fishing. You need that nice tub of water to make sure your hands are nice and clean before you put your paste on, otherwise it can get a bit sticky. It can be a bit of a pain. But quickly running through rig-wise, it's, as with bait, it's as simple as it could possibly be. Yeah, I've literally got a length of 0.16.5 main line, so nice robust main line, so I'm going to be really pulling, trying to catch them as quick as I can. I've got an 0.13.5 hook length. I've got a massive big size 12 or size 14 hook on. I've gone 14 in this case, because I don't know how it's going to be yet, and I'm not quite sure the size of F1's going to catch, so I'm going to start with a 14, because I find that a 14 pulls through your paste a little bit easier if I can get away with it. If it's solid, I'll swap to a 12. But the main part of the rig, it's a nice bulbous 4x14's dibber that can support the weight of my paste. I mean, that's ultimately, that's all you need with a float. I've pretty much got a couple of a little tiny bulk there of number 10s underneath it. I've got a bulk of 4 number 10s right on top of an 8-inch hook length, big long hook length for this, which is just to hang it below the float plenty. So I've got that bulk of number 10s just to cock my float, but then still with a decent size, probably a penny-sized lump of paste sort of, it's still well supported. You'll be able to see it when I ship out. It's still going to support that paste and hang it where I want it. So the bites are pretty much unmissable. So what I'm going to do, just before I go in, I've been feeding it a little bit while I've been messing about. I've been throwing a little bit of bait in, and just for another couple of minutes, I'm just going to regularly chuck that little tiny nugget of slop on top. What I want to see is a few swirls, maybe a few bubbles, just to know that there's fish in that area, because it's quite different to shallow fishing, in that you've got to have that slop going in all the time to keep them in the upper layers. Like when you're feeding particles, they tend to come up and go down every time you feed. With slop, it's weird, it's completely different. They'll actually come up and they sort of drink it. I mean, they'll pick up all them particles that they can see that are hanging right in the top of the water, and they'll stay there for a lot longer than they would if you were conventionally shallow fishing with maggots, casters, pellets, whatever. So I'm just going to ring that dinner bell quite a few times. I'm going to throw 3 or 4 little lumps of slop, and then on the 4th one I'm going to throw a little lump, have my paste ready, and ship out and plop it straight on top. So that's the routine that I'm going to talk about next that you have to get into. It's that routine of feed in, swing it out straight on top of your feed, and the bites are pretty much instant when they're going to come. A very, very busy method, but say one that's nice and entertaining and hopefully catches a load of fish. Right, so I've fed that for a little bit. I probably fed half a dozen little balls on top of that now. And what I'm going to do first, I'm going to mould myself a little tiny bit of paste. Say about the size of a penny, maybe a 5p, only a little small bit, nothing too drastic to begin with, just enough to cover that hook. Compress that all around the top of the hook, so now that's plenty stiff enough for me to ship it out there, and that's not going to fall off. But just before I go out, what I want to do is get a nice bottle of slop right where I'm going, right on my mark where I want to swing it, and then almost in one motion, I want to swing this right on top of where that slop just went. So yeah, that's rather quick. You know what I mean? It's that instant. That's all. Who's gonna carry that? Right. But yeah, they're homing in that quickly on the noise of my slop that this is identical. Do you know what I mean? It's just like another piece of slop landing. That's what they think your paste is. And say the bites, they're ridiculous. They're instant when they come. But hopefully next cast it won't be quite so quick. So I can show you the importance of getting in that routine, that rhythm. Ooh, got away with that. Is he all right? Yeah, we got everything back. Right. So what I want to show you now is the routine I need to get in. That's the most important thing with this. So first thing is get my pole together. Yeah, the last thing I want to be doing is trying to ship that pole once I've got paste on. Do you know what I mean? It just makes it a bit wobbly and gives it a much better chance that that paste is going to fall off, which is the last thing I want. So straight away, before I bait up, I'm going to get some more slop in. Just hopefully getting them back. What I've done, I've hooked one and then fed straight away and land the fish, feed again. What I want to do is keep that constant cloud in the water, just to keep the fish up in the air. So it's really quick, because there's a lot of bait actually going to the bottom with the lumps that I'm feeding. They'll follow it down really quickly if I stop slopping that slop in every single go. So same again, my paste nice and ready. So I'm just going to get my little ball ready to go right on top. We've got a jacuzzi going on out there now. And say while the slop's there, or while the cloud's there, I can just ship up. So that nice little plop right on top of it. And with a bit of luck, so not quite as quick this time, but still nice and fast. I mean, they're straight onto it. So the bites, they're so weird. We were just talking about this a minute ago. In that with normal shallow fishing, they come up and go down. But on this, it's as if they've got it. So your float's dancing all over the place. And they just hang in that cloud for so much longer. So give them another ball to get them back in. And so in turn, it gives you phenomenal bites. So it's nice with this as well. You can fish quite a lot more positive than you can with most forms of shallow fishing. Like I've got a decent elastic on here. I've got a 12 to 14, which just allows me to, oh, I'll tell you what, the proper pulling today. I don't know if this is foul up, this one, but I don't think it is. No, it's not. It's just a big bugger. But yeah, having a proper elastic just allows me to get them in, get job flipping, get them in, get them done a little bit faster. I think he might be just under the chin, this one. He is, isn't he? That's why he's fighting like an absolute flipping lunatic. Yes, he's just under the chin, that one. Just chuck him back, and now one more time. So say, wet my hands every single time to get that nice little pile going. And hopefully, so the quicker you catch, the better it gets, ironically. It's the more I can get into that routine and hopefully not miss too many bites, the better it can be. If you get a bit erratic and start feeding all over the place, or feeding a little bit quick, or too regular sort of, then they can get a little bit moody and they can be a bit difficult to catch. So by keeping things nice and slow but steady, that same routine every single go, hopefully every sort of minute and a half. I'm just going to feed that again a little bit further. I'm putting an F1 in the net. So just let the initial chaos happen, and then a nice little plop over the top just to emulate that slop going in with my hook bait. I'd say normally you get sort of a 10-second window. There we go. Where they're going to come in, I'm going to get a bite after 10 seconds. Normally it's pretty much useless then. I might try and feed a tiny bit of slop right over my float, but if I'm completely honest, after that 10-second window, if you've not caught fish, you're best off feeding, shipping in, rebaiting, feed again, and then ship straight on top of it. You get a bite far quicker doing that than you will sitting and waiting for one to come to no attraction sort of thing, just your little lump of paste suspended on its own. So that the noise at this is absolutely everything. Here's a proper one. So you all seem to catch a slightly bigger stamp of F1 doing this as well. It's not very good for little tiny F1s. If they're little tiny pound ones, then I think I'd probably go with pellets and a different type of bait, casters, particles. But when it comes to bigger F1s that have sort of seen everything, so now and again it's a bit of a nice change for them. It's like drinking soup instead. Let's make one more. So that paste is quite nice at the minute. It's just right for going on and not falling off. This will probably fall off as soon as I've said that now. So I'm just compressing lots right around the top of the hook. That's where all the compression wants to be. So I almost have like a little pyramid thing going on. I'll leave that dangling. So I'm going to throw that next bit of slop in. So I'm really impressed with that, just how cloudy it is. So I've added nothing to that. That's literally the ground bait straight out the bag, or the crushed pellet straight out the bag. No dyes or nothing added to it, and it's a beautiful cloud already. Normally I used to, in the old days, used to add tubs of Trassics and all sorts of dyes to it just to create that sort of cloud. But so this is doing it of its own accord, which is perfect for what I'm after. So at the minute it's just beautiful. I mean, a bit cocky, and at the minute that's 4 out of 4. We've not missed the bite yet, which is quite good for this. But it's only been a very, very quick demo. But hopefully it just shows with a minimal amount of bait, but the right bait for what you're trying to use it for. And something a little bit different as well, I must admit, from the usual F1 fishing that I do every flipping day of the week when I'm teaching. It's a nice change, having a little mess about with a method that is absolutely phenomenal and catches a lot of fish. So I'm well impressed with the bait. So why not get a bag and go and have a go yourself? But hopefully we'll be out on the bank very shortly, and we'll do something else a bit weird because I'm bored of normal fishing. So let's go marlin fishing next, Rich. Yeah, let's come up with a bait for marlin. That's the next plan.